Okay, so today is the 27th of April 2016, and in South Africa today we are celebrating what's known as Freedom Day. And this day commemorates the move from apartheid rule to democratic rule in South Africa on the 27th of April 1994. Megan and I had the privilege of spending that day in the townships of Khutsong and Kokosi in the Northwest Province, where we were ministering, and we were members of the Witswald Peace Initiative. And I remember we voted early that morning for the first time in the democratic South Africa, or for the democratic South Africa, and then spent the day working in those two townships to ensure that the elections went off safely and were free and fair. And I can tell you that was a time of incredible and wonderful celebration, such optimism in South Africa. Of course, it's 22 years after that, and the title of today's vlog, you may have seen, is Most Apartheid South Africa. Now, I think that we have a great deal to celebrate in this nation, not the least of which that we do have a democracy in which people can express their democratic rights. We have freedoms to be able to exercise our rights as citizens. But I encourage my students and colleagues not to use the phrase post-apartheid South Africa. In what senses are we free? Because even though politically apartheid is no longer recorded in the laws of our nation, we still have the effects of those laws that separate us racially, economically and socially in South Africa. And statistics show that we are in fact more separated today than we were in 1994. The rich have become richer and the poor have become poorer, and we are not seeing the kind of freedoms for the citizens of our land that we had hoped for. So I would like to invite you to think a little bit today about what it may mean to create the kind of nation where everyone is truly free and where we can all flourish, and where the fruits of our freedom can be shared by all of us, where people are not locked into living in certain areas, attending schools, government schools that are run by the same government but are woefully inadequate to be able to serve the needs of the young people who need to learn in that area, where health services are available to everybody, where everybody has the same protections from the state and the police and equal access before the law. I want to speak specifically to my white sisters and brothers, and particularly to Christians, and say that we have a responsibility to do our very best to see that the privilege and the opportunity that we still have, that in some ways we create opportunities for that to be dismantled. No one in society should be privileged when someone else is underprivileged, and we need to find ways to share the wealth and the opportunity that we have, and to do that in a manner that expresses our solidarity with all of the citizens of this beautiful land. I say to colleagues often, the thing that we need to realize is that eschatologically, God's justice will reign. It will come. It's a certainty. God will not allow the kind of injustice that we see in South Africa to continue, where some of us have too much when others have too little. And what we have is the freedom to decide where we will place ourselves in relation to God's work and God's justice. And there are things that we can do in order to see that this South Africa is a nation for us all. So I remind you again of that little quote that I used in an earlier vlog that commemorates the Women's Mass March to Parliament in the 1950s. That beautiful poem that said, "We are the people that we have been waiting for." So today, as we come to celebrate Freedom Day, I would like to invite you to do what it is that you can. You know, Desmond Tutu said, "Do your little bits of good wherever you are, and when they are put together, they will overwhelm the world in love." So find ways to live closely with the people where you are. Yes, express your democratic right that was very hard won in the nation. Vote wisely, but also use the opportunities that you have in work, in your home, in your community, in your school, and do it in a manner that's committed and courageous, so that South Africa can be a truly free place for us all. And then we can use that phrase, post-apartheid South Africa, with integrity. So a blessed Freedom Day to all of you in South Africa and to everyone else in the world who lives for justice and for equity and for peace. And may the Lord grant us all great wisdom and courage to know how we can live to become the kind of people that we were created to be. Okay, I'm home. So don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot to celebrate on Freedom Day. We have one of the most incredible nations. We are so blessed with wonderful people and beautiful country, wonderful resources. But I just want us to take seriously the fact that we can't rest on our laurels, and that we have to be careful about the kind of language that we use to describe where we are and where we need to be. So absolutely, I celebrate our freedom. I give thanks for the patience of our people and for the courage to take on difficult issues. But I also want to invite as many people as I can to think very intentionally and carefully about how we can make this nation the place that it should be. So thanks for watching today's vlog. And of course, this is a controversial one, perhaps for some, and I'd love to hear your feedback and comments. You can send me a comment down below in the comments section, or reach me via Twitter at DigitalDion, or on my website dionfoster.com. And I'd love to engage with you. Let's keep this a hospitable and open conversational space, and I'm sure there's much that I can learn from you, and perhaps things that I don't think about as clearly from your perspective. So please do share the blog, even if you don't agree, share it with others. Let's keep the conversation going, and yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.